Hi, I'm Gavin Andrews, one of the founders of We at Heart, and also Managing Director of HeartMath UK and Ireland. Thank you so much for your interest in We at Heart. We're really looking forward to inviting you to the first session. What I wanted to do was produce a short webinar for you to give you a little introduction into what we do, why we're doing it, and some of the science behind what you'll be practicing as well. So I just want to share a few slides with you to explain all of that, and then we'll look forward to seeing you on the day. Okay, so We at Heart. What on earth is We at Heart all about? Well, I'm assuming you partly know that, as you wouldn't have been interested in it. But just to clarify, what We at Heart is all about is we're basically a group of people, a growing number of people who feel some sort of pull from our hearts, where we would like to connect more with ourselves, our own hearts, and with the hearts of others as well. And so what We at Heart is all about is coming together to practice connecting with our hearts, to experiencing heartfelt care for ourselves, which is important, and also to experience heartfelt care for each other. By each other, I mean the other people who will be in the room with you, but I also mean to all peoples everywhere around the world and without exception. So part of what We at Heart is about is we're a peace movement, and we want to encourage people to find ways to think and feel and behave more peacefully. So what we're all about then, generally, as a group of people that come together, is we're aspiring to live more fully from our hearts. That doesn't mean that any of us are perfect. Like I say, we're aspiring and we're looking, we're practicing. And part of that is because we want to play a role in creating a more heart-based world. And so what a heart-based world means is we want to help other people to open their eyes and open their hearts, and therefore we can play our part in raising social and global consciousness, evolving society. It's lots of different things that we could call this. Just call it generally evolving or improving our own morality or ethical behaviour. But the ultimate aim of all of this, whatever you want to call it, is creating greater fairness in the world, greater understanding between peoples, and peace between peoples and nations. The other thing is that we understand and appreciate that we need to take personal responsibility for our own health and for our own happiness. So We at Heart is a way of practically improving our health and experiencing more positive, pleasant, renewing feelings and emotions, especially in connection and collaboration with other people. So what is it that we're doing? Well, actually, what we're doing is not just feeling good feelings, which make us feel good and other people feel good. What we're doing actually is we're shifting our physiology. So the first thing that we're doing is we're changing our physiology, and we can measure that actually scientifically through our heart rhythms. So generally speaking, and this is a generalization, it's a bit black and white, but in effect, it's the reality. When you experience unpleasant, negative, for want of a better word, emotions, feelings like frustration or anxiety, stress, depression, worry, for example, your body goes out of balance. Okay, so your autonomic nervous system, the bit that's looking after 95% of who you are, that's metabolizing any caffeine you might have drunk this afternoon, or helping you digest and metabolize your food, that's helping your body adjust its temperature, that's helping your eyes react to changes in light. I mean, your autonomic nervous system is doing pretty much everything you don't need to think about. Breathing, heart rate, all of those types of things. Okay, now when you experience unpleasant, negative feelings and emotions, your autonomic nervous system begins to go into imbalance. And if you're experiencing stress, then the autonomic nervous system also begins to produce quite a lot of time adrenaline. The purpose of adrenaline is to speed the heart rate up, so that you can run away or defend yourself. And then the body tends to release cortisol as well, which is often known as a stress hormone. It's nothing bad in and of itself. Cortisol is an important hormone in our bodies. But when we get stressed, and if we experience stress too often and too frequently, we tend to have too much cortisol in our systems. Now, interestingly, when we experience positive or pleasant emotions, particularly feelings like appreciation and love, gratitude, compassion, love, all of those types of feelings, our heart rhythms generally go into a more stable or balanced pattern. And what that's reflecting is balance and stability in the autonomic nervous system. And actually, we need a lot of that in our lives, or certainly a good amount of it, because what's happening there is the autonomic nervous system, when it's going into balance, is facilitating what's known as homeostasis. So homeostasis is just the way the body regulates itself back into balance, looks after itself, repairs and revitalizes itself. So when you feel these feelings, the body tends to do that naturally. You don't need to think about it. And the body also, importantly, is producing different types of biochemicals, and particularly hormones like DHEA and oxytocin. So DHEA is a vitality hormone. You need a good amount of it in the system to literally rebuild you and revitalize you. And oxytocin is often known as the love drug or the hug drug. So oxytocin is an important hormone to have in the system as well, because if you have it in adequate levels, it can actually help buffer the stress response. So what you find is if you have a good level of oxytocin in your system, then you don't perceive situations to be quite as stressful as you might do otherwise. So your tolerance level is increased or improved. So what we are doing in We Add Heart is helping our bodies shift out of imbalance and putting them back into balance. We're doing that for around about an hour or more within the session. And so we're helping our bodies balance. We're facilitating homeostasis so the body can regulate itself back to balance. And we're also shifting our hormonal balance. And we're actually producing, we really feel these feelings of appreciation, gratitude, love, compassion. If we really feel those feelings, we're going to be producing higher levels of DHEA and higher levels of oxytocin. So that's important because basically it's doing you good while you're sat there. Now, it's also important in real time and in the moment because the nature of what's going on in your autonomic nervous system, which is reflected in your heart rhythms, also impacts upon the way that your brain functions. So if you're experiencing unpleasant, negative feelings and emotions like frustration or anger, hatred, worry, anxiety, etc., the autonomic nervous system goes into imbalance and the heart rhythms become chaotic. Now, again, this is a bit of a simplification, but to all intents and purposes, this is exactly what happens. The heart rhythms become chaotic. The heart's the largest rhythm maker in the body. And so the rest of the body and the brain senses, perceives, notices that rhythm. And if the rhythm's chaotic, then it basically sustains activity within the stress centers of the brain or increases the activity even. So what I mean by that is the part of the brain that enables you to fight or run away or play dead becomes active. Now that's important in a real life-threatening situation. You want your brain to do that. But of course, the majority of the stress that we experience in modern life is not life-threatening. It's ego-threatening. It's psychosocial. It's things like being late for a meeting. It's financial worries. It's relationship problems. It's stuck on a train when you've got to get somewhere important. It's all of these types of things. So they cause a stress reaction in the body and the brain, which predisposes us towards fight and flight. But that's not an appropriate reaction. What we actually need is to be able to think logically and rationally and to resolve the situation and choose our behaviors carefully. Now that's a problem because when you increase activity in the stress centers of the brain, you take activity from particularly the cortex or the prefrontal cortex. So this is the part of your brain that makes you a human being, that enables you to think logically and rationally and be empathetic and to be creative and importantly to self-regulate. So to self-regulate your feelings, your thoughts and your behaviors. But that part of your brain goes offline. So it's really the reason why smart people can do and say really stupid things when they're stressed. The part of your brain that makes you smart is going offline. Now, interestingly, we all have some control over that. Many people don't know that, many people don't believe that, but we do, and actually you can control it quite simply. So remember I said that when you experience positive and pleasant feelings and emotions, the body tends to go naturally back into balance. Well, there's a way of facilitating that, or speeding it up, especially when you're stressed. And the way that we do that is initially by focusing attention in the body, particularly the heart area, and then by breathing in a specific way. So what we're doing is we're breathing in a balanced way. We're focusing attention in the heart, imagining the breath is flowing in and out the heart area. We're balancing the breath. Tends to be around, for many people, 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out. For some people, a bit quicker and others a little bit slower. But what happens if you focus in the body and start to breathe in that way, imagining the breath flowing in, flowing out of the heart, very quickly you take conscious control of your autonomic nervous system, which until that point is unconscious. And we can measure this. So we have technology, and some people in We Add Heart will be using this technology. And what it's showing is that you have some control over this, and you can shift out of imbalance within the autonomic nervous system, chaos within the heart rhythms, and very quickly, with practice within a breath or two, put it into balance. So we see this lovely, smooth, ordered sinusoidal waveform appear if you're looking at the biofeedback technology. Now that sends a different type of information to the brain and the body. So what the brain is basically sensing or perceiving, noticing there is, well, there's this ordered stability. There's these lovely cycles, these patterns that are coming from the body to the brain. The heart, it's the largest rhythm maker. It's tapping out this lovely, smooth, ordered rhythm. And so the brain perceives that as, well, there can't be any threat. So stress centers, you can deactivate. Prefrontal cortex, you can come back online again. So very quickly, like I said, with practice, even within a couple of breaths, you get the prefrontal cortex back online, and that means that you can self-regulate your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. So that's simply what we're doing with the breathing. Once we've got ourselves balanced, we can self-regulate our feelings. So that's when we put ourselves intentionally in these states where we're experiencing appreciation, care, compassion, those types of feelings. So we're intentionally choosing to feel those feelings. And we feel the feelings for ourselves, and we feel the feelings out for the room, the group, and out into the wider world as well. Okay. So what we're practicing then is called coherence. And coherence is a real scientifically measurable state. We measure it through heart rate variability biofeedback. So as I said, there might be some people in the room using these devices with their phones. So that image there is an example of what they look like. And you can actually see your heart rhythms, and you can monitor them as they become much smoother and sinusoidal. So what coherence is then, in simple terms, it's just an optimal state. So it's an optimal state where your heart, your mind, and your emotions are synchronized and they're balanced. So they're working together. And when you're stressed, when you're worried, they're not in balance. They're not working together. In fact, they're often working against each other. They're causing wear and tear. What else is happening then physiologically? So within your body systems and processes, your immune system, your hormonal system, and your nervous systems are functioning in a state of energetic coordination. They're working together. So what that means then is your body is better able to balance and repair itself. Your body is better able to shift into homeostasis and regulate itself back to balance. And actually, in practical terms, what this also means is when you're coherent, you have these lovely coherent rhythms in the body that are then reflected in the brain, you increase your mental and emotional flexibility. And what that means then is that you're in charge of yourself. You're in charge of your feelings, your thoughts, and your behaviors in a way that you aren't in charge when you're stressed. When you're stressed, the stressful feelings and emotions are in charge. They're driving the behavior, which is why it's often very, very hard to self-regulate. And you often do or say something inappropriate. So that's what coherence is. Now, there's another aspect to what we're doing together. So the heart is an electrical organ, and the heart emits an electromagnetic field. Okay, so this is factual. I'm not talking about auras or anything like this. What I'm talking about is factual and measurable reality. The heart emits an electromagnetic field. And if we had a very expensive piece of equipment called a squid magnetometer, we could actually measure everybody's electromagnetic heart fields within the room. So that's a fact, okay? Your heart's emitting this electromagnetic field, and when you get coherent, it's emitting a coherent electromagnetic field. Now, HeartMath and other organizations theorize that the electromagnetic field is something that impacts other people. Okay, so this is a theory, it's a hypothesis, and it's one that we research and experiment around, have some really interesting evidence around. But what we believe is that if you get coherent, that can impact other people's moods, attitudes, and feelings, and that actually you can facilitate them going into coherence or them becoming more balanced. So an important part of the practice is that we're doing this, we're creating coherence in ourselves, we're creating coherence collectively, so we're benefiting each other. And we also have a belief that that coherence can then extend out into the world and that could benefit other people. So part of the practice is that we send out care, appreciation, compassion to the group and out more widely into the world as well. Okay, so our belief is that that can only benefit others. So I hope that gives you a good understanding of what it is that We at Heart is all about. We're really excited about it. We're hoping that We at Heart could become something that would exist in every village and town and city in the UK. And we're really looking forward to inviting you to your first session. We look forward to seeing you there then. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.